Hello and welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations. Last time we were doing a search through the hallway outside a crime scene, and today we're going to hopefully finish that investigation and find some decisive evidence to finish off this case. We'll start today by examining this area, which is the door of Portsman's office. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Alright, I think the most conspicuous thing here is that sheet of paper sticking out from under the door that wasn't there before. I don't think that was there before, so I'm not sure how it appeared there when no one's in the office, but that's okay, we'll look at it anyway. What is this?
Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it.
It looks like a note from the victim. It says, I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy. Alright.
Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman.
Note goes to the organizer. Okay. Alright, let's look at this basketball. I don't think it'll tell us anything, but here it is.
Is this basketball property of Mr. Portsman?
Yes, sir. He's always ready for a match.
Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis. It doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. Although, I think it would be a little hard to play tennis with this ball.
That isn't the point you should be focusing on, Detective.
You're right, sir. Now I know what I should be focusing on. Bad Mr. Portsman. Someone should teach him to clean up his toys after he's done playing.
Oh, I want a mind like Gumshoes. Like, I want to think like that.
I think we've reached the end of this conversation.
Sometimes I feel bad for Edgeworth for having to put up with Gumshoe, but sometimes I feel bad for Gumshoe for taking Edgeworth so seriously and having to put up with him. It kind of goes back and forth. It's a funny relationship. Much better than the relationship that Portsman had with his partner, Buddy, or Jim, I guess. Now there's also the base of this basketball hoop, which we examined last time, but down here is something interesting, so we'll look at that.
What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh hey, how about a game?
That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off.
Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk.
The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I'd better take note of this. We're getting quite a bit of evidence in our organizer here. Here's the basketball hoop. And looks like that's it for that scene and for the investigation. We got our health back. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely.
Huh? How so, sir?
In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman?
I knew it! That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir.
That is anything but logical. Yeah, it's a little emotional, but that's okay. Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. Alright, here we go. Let's see how much health I'll lose this time. Oh gosh. Okay, we're back in the office now at 5:12 a.m. Mr. Portsman, I've finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Don't throw evidence around. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this.
Whoa!
That went too fast. I hope that was the right sound. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe.
End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now.
Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay, if you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl.
Ha! Who would have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor is Manfred von Karma, right? Oh, name drop. Here we go. The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Okay, obviously implying that Edgeworth is doing the same thing, or has done the same thing at least. It really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know?
Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for is explaining yourself. Although that, too, will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up.
It is really nice to see Edgeworth get over, or at least be almost over, the whole incident with his mentor, because that was just a really bad deal. If you guys remember, Von Karma is this really famous prosecutor who mentored Edgeworth for many, many years, but he turned out to be the murderer of Edgeworth's father, Gregory Edgeworth. Up until he was arrested, he was forging and hiding evidence and doing all sorts of things until Phoenix put him away. So there's definitely bad blood there, but he's also the person who taught Edgeworth all he knows. It's a very complicated relationship, and there is definitely a time when it still hit Edgeworth pretty hard. The fact that he was mentored by someone who's essentially a criminal in several ways. But I think at this point, he's really starting to get over it, and maybe he's even at the point where you can put the whole thing behind him. We'll see. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything. Alright, here we go. Cross-examination time. Mr. Portsman's rebuttal. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from you being the culprit. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlock your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. No, we're not.
Sorry, but we are not finished yet.
Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something?
I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence.
Okay, this is a pretty short one, and I think I believe it's the line about how he was able to open the door, so let's go right ahead to that. Okay, besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlock your door and got in here? Well, let's look at what we got. We could... Oh, can we not present profiles in this game? Okay, so it looks like we're limited to evidence. I was thinking presenting Maggie's profile would do it, but I guess not. So there's the master key, which was stolen, but was also used by Maggie to open a door, which we think is Edgeworth's, which she thought was Portsman's door. Am I overthinking this, or should I just present the key? This kind of explains how it would have happened. I can see how it would be the door, but let's do the key first. Alright, here we go.
I believe you're able to open my office door, with the master key no less.
Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know.
Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct.
Oh, he's sweating now.
That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Okay, well, here are the profiles. I guess when we're prompted to, we can use them as evidence. Obviously, we're gonna pick Maggie here.
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes?
Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know?
But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it?
What? You have quite the imagination. Why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story.
Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted?
Ha! And how do you suppose I did that?
By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right, they do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine.
Okay. We see it right there in the picture, actually. It is the basketball hoop. What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why I left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor.
Ah! That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There are signs that a hoop has been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure.
I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Oh, he looks confident again. Here come more lies. Conjecture's rebuttal. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me.
So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he?
I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. Ugh. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. You take that back. That is rude. My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one truly covered in slime here. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. It's definitely not that. Okay. Alright, that's a little fishy. I'm just gonna... Oh, that's all there was. Okay. Well, we can disprove this because we have something that says that Portsman has stepped out.
That was a lie.
What are you talking about? How is that a lie?
This is the note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman.
A note?
It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You're not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing?
Yeah!
Shall I explain it in full detail for you?
Oh, new music here. I like it.
You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me.
Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
No way!
This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you.
I guess it's the door, right? Oh, that was just a basketball hoop. Because there were no fingerprints, which is the part I stumbled over last time because I totally didn't even consider that as an important piece of information, but it's the important piece of information. I think this is it, so let's present that.
I had your door dusted for fingerprints.
My door? Huh, what for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time.
You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Ms. Bird's fingerprints.
Her prints? What do they have to do with anything?
Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched.
Heck! I am a little bit bummed that, like, my intelligence level was on par with Portsman's. That's kind of sad, but that's okay. For now, anyway.
Further, all of the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Ms. Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office.
Oh, is he gonna break down?
And just what's so funny, pal?
Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me, is simply too much to bear. Oh, he's got something up his sleeves. There's just nothing else like it in the world.
What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down well. Eh? I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched. Also rude. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there.
You made that up just now, didn't you?
Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example.
Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway?
Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. Ah, but you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Ugh. Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it.
This is true. Besides, I have an airtight alibi.
Airtight, you say?
I only realized that I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I told you sooner. Well, is he making something up again? No, he wouldn't make up an airtight alibi, though. He's probably got something. Unfortunately for us. Okay, here's the alibi. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down on criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Yikes.
Do you really think it's that perfect?
Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself.
Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in Criminal Affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m.
You see? What are we gonna do about this?
All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
How's this gonna work? Because the detectives aren't lying. If memory serves, you came back to this office around 2 a.m., correct? And it was, oh, I don't need to reread this, sorry. So, 2 a.m., confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit, and he was down at Criminal Affairs at 2 also. Oh, that's it? Oh, we can press things. There aren't even that many statements, so let's press everything. Alright, here we go.
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m.
Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. Ugh.
I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2.
Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. Okay, press that.
It is as you say. However...
Yes, however, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw?
It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you?
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Yeah, this is not good. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. Okay, it's gotta be this.
So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit?
Yup. Right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Oh, or not. Okay. Well, this is the last one, so hopefully we get something here.
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony.
And it was just as I said, right?
Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time.
See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve.
Ah, impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi.
What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face?
Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth?
Heh. I think we've reached the end of the line. It's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir. Please escort the young lady out. But remember, be gentle.
Maggie!
Detective Gumshoe! Oh dear.
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi?
Oh, so now we've got some logic. Were we supposed to put any logic together? I don't think we were. Maybe this is our chance.
I need to calmly think this through one more time and with logic.
Okay, we can do something here. So we have the 2 files in disarray, and another handgun that we've had for a while now, and Mr. Portsman's alibi. This is definitely one of the pieces of logic because we can't connect these two, we already know that. Okay, yeah, I think it's the handgun because we need to suggest that there is a second person involved in all of this. So the intruder did meet Edgeworth at 2 a.m., but maybe Portsman wasn't the intruder, it was the person with the other gun. Okay, I think that's it. Here we go. Okay, I think we got it. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But, seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Bartleby, you have to move, okay? Go over there. Okay. Oh, you want to watch? Okay, you can watch. Sorry, it's my cat. He's saying hi. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid the visit to my office tonight. There we go. We officially have this logic now. Can we connect these two? Maybe the victim and his killer weren't only visitors to my office tonight. So if we connect these, we'd be saying that there's no need for one person to rearrange files twice, but if there's another person, then maybe both of them were digging around? Does that matter? Okay, let's try it. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight. That would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back, Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you've finally come to your senses. No. Mr. Edgeworth?
Sir, what are you saying?
This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts?
Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight.
What do you mean 2?
It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Ms. Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time.
So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right?
Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith?
But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir?
He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out.
Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. And if you think about it, Portsman, that was a really stupid move on Portsman's part, because he's He wants to steal some sort of file, but if that's all he was looking for, why did he need to make noise? I'm sure there's some degree of soundproofness between the offices, so he must have been really noisy. I don't know what he was doing in here. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there.
Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in an act of stealing.
Oh, got him now.
This is the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left a fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated.
There was another?
Visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and it entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen zero file, right, sir? Correct. Only, just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Ha 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 ha.
What's so funny, pal?
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything.
Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all.
But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Wow, that text moves really slowly. Sorry about that. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met was really just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Okay, alibi part 2. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? You should be out there looking for that thief right now. He might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course. Now isn't the time to be wasting time on dead-end discussions. But he's sweating. He's totally sweating.
I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we?
Ooh, he's nervous.
I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
I'm not really sure what to go on here. Okay, this is a possibility. The first two were just sort of like filler. Maybe this one. And that's it. Okay, oops, sorry, went the wrong direction. Okay, let's see what we have. No, victim information. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Gun, safe, file. Is there anything here? No, that just pretty much says that Portsman wasn't around. We already tried using this to prove the fact that Portsman was out, but he was saying that we couldn't prove when exactly the note was left there. Oh, so that's not really valid, is it? Okay, let's press this.
But according to Mr. Faith's note...
Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have proof that he left at a different time, say, just before he was murdered...
I don't have any, no.
You see? So I insist again that I was in my office the entire time. That did not get us anywhere. Let's try this one.
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith?
Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits.
And what of the evidence he brought?
There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Let me finish this first. There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pendant.
Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
Okay, yeah. That added this new piece. The new piece of evidence you get after pressing is almost always the thing that you should be focusing on. And then the thing that contradicts this is, again, that note, because Mr. Faith said there were 3 pieces of evidence. So what's going on here?
Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail.
Excuse me?
You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me.
What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you.
Well, here's a piece I think you should read, carefully.
Ah, it says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces.
Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman.
I can't believe to be tripped up by simple arithmetic.
Where is the missing piece of evidence?
It's...
You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face.
I'm not sure how this is related to the case, though. I mean, the fact that he's lying is helpful, but why do we care about missing evidence right now? I'm not really sure.
Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe.
What? Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. Oh yeah, we got him.
This is all part of the investigation. pal, so don't even think about stopping me.
No!
Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide.
Why would we hide something like that?
There's only one reason why anyone will hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Oh, okay. We've got some looking around. The KG-8 incident. I don't believe that's one of the cases we've heard about before.
That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case?
Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't important right now. Let's give a casing a thorough once-over. Oh, well then.
Oh, that's blood, isn't it?
Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood?
No! You've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how the victim's blood found its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? Oh. Well, I think that says a lot. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here will belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible! I'm... What is he trying to say? Oh my god. Oh, he swallowed it. Oh my god, I love that. The freakout scenes in Ace Attorney are all gems. They are amazing. And I always thought, I completely forgot about this because I always thought I think in Trials and Tribulations, when there was the case with Young Phoenix, he eats an entire pendant. It was like a little glass bottle and he eats it. This is way worse. It's a metal. It's bigger. This is even more impossible. I totally forgot about this. Anyway, oh gosh. This has been a long episode, but I think we're pretty close to the end. I kind of want to just keep going. Let's try and finish this episode.
Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir.
Very good.
And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, there's the salute again. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir.
It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies.
Aw, it was nothing, really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. Oh, no. If it had been a holdup or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person.
Is that supposed to be a big upgrade? low standards. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail.
I mean, she's probably gonna get fired. She did let someone steal the key.
You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor.
And why would you say he was corrupt?
Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir.
Forged evidence, huh?
And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons.
Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although, we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes.
Oh? Well.
With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor.
It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this.
Huh? Then Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy?
I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence. I think it's the file, I believe, right? Yeah. Because we're not sure what he stole, and we definitely don't know why he stole it. Yeah, okay. It's just showing some missing pages.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night.
Yeah, I wonder who it was.
And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir!
Yes?
I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card.
What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there?
It's not just any bird. It is the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective.
Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about?
Yes, it is the mark of the great thief Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although, it has been a while since Yatagarasu's last appearance.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth! Look, something's written on the back.
What? Let me see.
It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files.
So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu? Yatagarasu, organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. Okay, you guys, this is the end of our first case and our first episode, Turnabout Visitor. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm having a lot of fun even though I've played this before. I may have said this already in an earlier episode, but in Ace Attorney games, I tend to rush through on the first time around because I really want to know what happens in the plot, and if the characters are suffering, I want to save them. No spoilers, but by the way, it happens a little bit in the next episode, and if I ever do an LP for the next game, there's a case that is like painful because one of the characters is going through so much. I'm not even sure if I remember any of the plot on that one. But anyway, we'll get there if we get there. So this is my second playthrough, and it's my chance to slow down and enjoy the game, and also make all the little connections between this game and the one before it, which I think is a lot of fun, and to mess up because I don't remember what the right answers are. Sorry about that. If you're hoping to see someone who knows what they're doing, you should probably watch someone else. Anyway, I hope you'll continue on with me to our second episode, Turnabout Airlines. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!